The Book of Judges paints a vivid tapestry of ancient Israel, a time marked by both faithfulness and failure. It was a period of great turmoil and transformation, where the people of Israel often found themselves caught in a cycle of sin, suffering, repentance, and deliverance. This era was characterized by the rise of various leaders known as judges, who were chosen by God to guide and deliver his people. Amidst the cycles of sin and redemption, Deborah stands out as a beacon of hope and courage. Her story is one of remarkable strength and unwavering faith, a narrative that shines brightly in the annals of history. Deborah was not just any leader. She was a woman who broke through the barriers of her time, standing tall in a male-dominated society. She was a woman of many roles, a prophetess, a judge, and a military strategist. As a prophetess, she conveyed God's messages to the people, offering guidance and wisdom. As a judge, she settled disputes and provided leadership, ensuring justice and order. And as a military strategist, she led her people to victory, demonstrating her exceptional skills in planning and execution. But above all, she was a woman of unwavering faith in God. Her deep spiritual connection and trust in the divine were the bedrock of her strength. Deborah's faith was not just a personal belief, it was a guiding force that influenced her every decision and action. She sought God's will in all things, and her reliance on him was evident in the way she led her people. Deborah's story is unique in a patriarchal society. In a time when women were often relegated to the background, she emerged as a prominent leader. Her rise to prominence was not just a testament to her abilities, but also a powerful statement about the potential of women to lead and inspire. Deborah's leadership challenged the societal norms of her time and paved the way for future generations of women. She defied cultural norms and emerged as a leader, demonstrating that God's anointing transcends gender. Her story is a powerful reminder that leadership is not confined to a specific gender or background. Deborah's life and actions showed that when God calls someone to lead, he equips them with the necessary wisdom, strength, and courage to fulfill their mission. Her wisdom and courage inspired a nation to rise against oppression and experience God's liberating power. Deborah's leadership was instrumental in rallying the Israelites to stand up against their oppressors. Her strategic mind and fearless spirit were key in securing victory and freedom for her people. She not only led them in battle, but also inspired them to believe in their own strength and in God's power to deliver them. Deborah's life serves as a powerful reminder that God can use anyone, regardless of their background or gender, to accomplish his purposes. Her story is a testament to the fact that divine purpose knows no boundaries. Deborah's legacy continues to inspire countless individuals to recognize their own potential and to trust in God's plan for their lives. Her story encourages us to embrace our God-given potential and to step out in faith, even when faced with daunting challenges. Deborah's example teaches us that with faith, courage, and determination, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve great things. Her life is a beacon of hope, urging us to rise above our circumstances and to lead with integrity and conviction. For 20 long and grueling years, the Israelites had groaned under the oppressive rule of King Jabin of Canaan. The weight of his tyranny was felt in every corner of their lives, from the fields they toiled in to the homes they sought refuge in. His military commander, Sisera, was a cruel and ruthless warrior who terrorized the land with his 900 iron chariots. These chariots, symbols of his unyielding power, would thunder across the plains, leaving destruction and fear in their wake. The Israelites, disarmed and demoralized, had lost their fighting spirit. Their weapons were taken, their will to resist crushed. They were a people who had forgotten what it meant to stand tall and fight for their freedom. Fear had become a suffocating blanket, extinguishing their hope for a brighter future. Every day was a struggle for survival, and the once proud nation was now a shadow of its former self. The once vibrant nation, chosen by God to be a light to the world, was shrouded in darkness. The stories of their ancestors, who had crossed the Red Sea and conquered mighty foes, seemed like distant legends, irrelevant to their current suffering. The people had forgotten the mighty acts of God who had delivered them from slavery in Egypt. The miracles that had once defined their identity were now buried under layers of despair and hopelessness. Their hearts were far from their God, and their spirits were crushed under the weight of oppression. The songs of joy and praise that once filled their gatherings were replaced by cries of anguish and sorrow. They cried out to God for deliverance, but their cries seemed to echo unanswered. The heavens appeared silent, and the people wondered if they had been abandoned by the very God who had once called them his own. Little did they know that God was already at work, raising up a deliverer in their midst, a woman named Deborah, who would shatter the chains of oppression and lead them to victory. Deborah, a prophetess and judge, was a beacon of hope in these dark times. She was wise, courageous, and filled with the Spirit of God. Under the shade of a palm tree, Deborah would sit and render judgment for the people of Israel. Her wisdom and fairness were renowned, and people from all over the land would come to seek her counsel. She was a symbol of justice and righteousness in a time when both seemed scarce. One day, Deborah summoned Barak, a military leader, and delivered a message from God. She told him to gather 10,000 men and lead them to Mount Tabor, for God had promised to deliver Sisera and his army into their hands. Barak, though hesitant, agreed to go, but only if Deborah would accompany him. Together, Deborah and Barak rallied the Israelites. The news spread like wildfire, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of the people. Men who had once been paralyzed by fear now found the courage to take up arms and fight for their freedom. The battle was fierce, but the Israelites fought with a newfound determination. With Deborah's leadership and Barak's military prowess, they managed to turn the tide against Sisera's formidable forces. The iron chariots that had once seemed invincible were no match for the power of a united and determined people. Sisera, seeing his army defeated, fled the battlefield in a desperate attempt to save his own life. The once feared commander was now a fugitive, running from the very people he had terrorized for so long. The Israelites, victorious and free, rejoiced and praised God for their deliverance. The dark days of oppression were over, and a new era of hope and renewal had begun. Deborah's leadership had not only brought them victory, but had also restored their faith in God and in themselves. Deborah's song of victory echoed through the land, a testament to the power of faith and the resilience of the human spirit. Her story would be remembered for generations, a reminder that even in the darkest times there is always hope. Deborah was a woman of remarkable spiritual authority. She stood out in a time when female leaders were rare, and her presence commanded respect and admiration. As a prophetess, she heard the voice of God and conveyed his messages to the people. Her connection with the divine was profound, and she was known for her ability to interpret God's will with clarity and conviction. She served as a judge, settling disputes and providing wise counsel. Her judgments were fair and just, and she was known for her ability to see through deception and uncover the truth. Her wisdom and discernment were renowned throughout the land, and people traveled from far and wide to seek her guidance. They came with their problems and left with solutions, grateful for her insight and understanding. Deborah's leadership was not confined to the spiritual realm. She was also a military leader, guiding her people in times of conflict and war. She was a woman of action, unafraid to confront injustice and inspire her people to fight for their freedom. Her courage in the face of adversity was legendary, and she led by example, showing that true leadership requires both strength and compassion. She embodied the rare combination of spiritual depth and practical wisdom. Her decisions were guided by her faith, but she also understood the complexities of human nature and the challenges of daily life. Under the shade of a palm tree known as the Palm of Deborah, she held court, offering guidance and justice. This place became a symbol of her leadership, where people knew they could find fairness and mercy. She was a beacon of hope in a time of despair, a symbol of God's unwavering faithfulness to his people. Her legacy lives on as a testament to the power of faith, wisdom, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Deborah's story is not just one of spiritual leadership, but also of strategic brilliance. She led her people to victory against their oppressors, showing that true leadership transcends gender and societal expectations. Her teachings and prophecies were recorded and passed down through generations, inspiring countless others to rise above their circumstances and lead with integrity and faith. Deborah's life is a powerful reminder that one person's faith and determination can change the course of history. She remains a shining example of what it means to lead with both heart and mind, and her story continues to inspire and uplift those who seek to make a difference in the world. One day, God spoke to Deborah, giving her a clear directive. She was to summon a man named Barak, a brave warrior from the tribe of Naphtali. God had chosen Barak to lead the Israelite army against the Canaanites. Deborah was to relay this message and assure Barak of God's presence and power in the coming battle. Deborah wasted no time. She immediately sent for Barak and delivered God's message with unwavering conviction. She outlined God's plan. Barak was to assemble 10,000 men from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun and lead them to Mount Tabor. The time had come for the Israelites to rise up and fight for their freedom. God was on their side, and he would deliver them from the hand of their enemies. Barak, though known for his courage, hesitated when he heard Deborah's words. He was acutely aware of the might of Sisera's army, with their iron chariots and superior numbers. Fear began to creep into his heart, threatening to cripple his resolve. "If you go with me," Barak said to Deborah, "I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go." Barak, though courageous, sought the assurance of God's presence through Deborah. He recognized the vital role her faith and leadership played in this battle. Deborah agreed to accompany Barak, but she warned him that the glory of the victory would not be his. God had already decreed that Sisera would be defeated by the hand of a woman. With renewed determination, Barak gathered his men and prepared for battle. The stage was set for a confrontation of epic proportions. Barak and his 10,000 men descended from Mount Tabor, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The Canaanite army, led by Sisera, awaited them in the valley below, their iron chariots gleaming menacingly in the sun. The battle raged fiercely. The Israelites, though outnumbered, fought with the fury of men determined to reclaim their freedom. Suddenly, the tide turned. A torrential downpour transformed the battlefield into a muddy quagmire, rendering Sisera's chariots useless. The Canaanites, caught off guard by the sudden deluge and the ferocity of the Israelite attack, panicked and fled in disarray. The waters of the Kishon River, swollen by the rain, swept away many of the fleeing Canaanites.